Hey there, this is James Wilson with MTB Strength Training Systems and BikeJames.com. And in this training tip, I want to share kind of an advanced tip for your kettlebell swing. And this tip basically applies to what's happening with your upper body and locking down your lats at the top of the swing. Now what happens is a lot of riders, they concentrate on what's happening from the waist down. So they're getting a good hip hinge, letting their chest come down. But what happens is when they get to the top, they're not locking down their lats. So they're looking good, they get to the top, everything from here down looks good, but they've kind of let the shoulders round out, they've kind of let the elbows flare out. So what we want to do when we get to this top position, we want to focus on not just locking down the core, that's squeezing the thighs together, really grounding ourselves, getting nice and tall and thin, but we also want to think about locking those lats down. So for me, what helps is thinking about getting my elbows to point down to the ground. So that action kind of screws. You can see how when I have my elbows pointed out, my shoulders can come out. When I screw those elbows down, you can see how it kind of pulls my shoulders back into the socket, and that's what we want to have happen at the top of our swing. So, show you what this looks like in action. So as we're doing our swings, so when I get to that top position, I'm locking those elbows down. So instead of letting the elbows stay out and kind of letting the kettlebell pull me forward, when I get to that top, I'm locking those lats in. Boom, those elbows point down, I feel the lats engage, really gets those shoulders pulled back into a good strong position. So remember, your lats are part of your core. So if you're not making sure that they're locked down at the top, then you don't have as good a strong stable core as you need. Now, on the trail, this is going to help us in a couple of ways, mostly when we go to execute our manuals. Now, a manual comes from extending the hips, driving your feet to drive the bike in front of you, and then when your arms get locked out, continuing to drive the bike forward gets the front end to come up. You can check out the video I've got on my blog if you're not familiar with the technique that I'm talking about. But the thing is, when your arms get straight, when you push the bike in front of you and your arms get straight, if you're not used to locking those lats down and making sure that they stay nice and strong, then the follow through the rest of your manual is going to be weak. And so if you find that you just can't really get a manual to work for you, or when you get up, you find that you tend to go off to one side, practicing this technique here, you'll probably find that you have trouble getting one side engaged compared to the other, and that probably corresponds to what side you track off to when you do your manual. So when you work on this with your swing, it'll really help tighten up your manuals and make sure that they're nice and strong, which is going to lead to better bunny hops and better jumps and stuff like that. So hopefully you've enjoyed this tip. Again, a little bit more of an advanced tip. You definitely want to make sure you've got the overall swing technique down before you start worrying about this, but this is one of those layers that you can add into the swing. So even when you've done it for a long time, you can always find something you can do a little bit better. And what I've found is this locking down the lats technique is something that a lot of riders can work on. So once again, it's been James Wilson with MTB Strength Training Systems. You can check me out on the web at BikeJames.com. Hopefully you've enjoyed this training tip, and I'll talk to you in the next one.